Zara Lynn had forgotten what it felt like to stand. For 10 years, 3 months and 17 days she had existed in the confines of her mobility chair. A sleek, hovering apparatus that the Velkari medical establishment had assured her was the pinnacle of assistive technology. It responded to neural commands, adjusted to her every shift in weight, and could navigate the sprawling crystal cities of her homeworld with effortless precision. But it wasn't legs. The accident had happened during her youth. A malfunction in the gravitational stabilizers of a transit pod. Her lower spine had been crushed beyond what Velkari medicine could repair. Their surgeons, among the finest in the Galactic Coalition, had done what they could. They had saved her life, preserved her mind, and given her the chair. They had also given her a pronouncement that still echoed in her mind. The damage is permanent. The Velkari body cannot regenerate such catastrophic neural pathways. You must adapt, and so she had adapted. She had returned to her work as a xenolinguist, traveled to 12 different systems, and learned to navigate a galaxy that wasn't built for someone like her. Most species in the Coalition had similar limitations. Once certain injuries occurred, they were irreversible. Prosthetics existed, crude mechanical limbs that responded to basic commands, but nothing that could truly replace what had been lost. Then humanity joined the Coalition. The humans were strange from the beginning. They were a paradox of fragility and resilience, a species that had clawed their way to the stars despite having no natural armor, no redundant organs, no specialized adaptations for survival. They were weak individually, yet they had survived extinction events, pandemics, and wars that should have wiped them out. Zara Lynn had met her first human at a linguistic conference on Axiom Station. His name was Dr. Marcus Webb, a biotechnical engineer with an easy smile and an unsettling intensity in his eyes. He had approached her after her presentation on Velkari syntax structures. "Forgive the intrusion," he had said, "but I noticed your mobility chair. Velkari design, 4th generation, correct?" She had nodded, curious but cautious. "Yes, it's been my companion for quite some time. Would you be interested in trying something different?" He had asked. Something better? Better. The word had felt like a betrayal to even consider. The Velkari had told her nothing could be better. But there was something in the human's expression. Not pity, but possibility. 3 weeks later, she found herself in a human medical facility on one of their frontier colonies. The building was smaller than she had expected, less pristine than Velkari hospitals, with exposed pipes and walls that hummed with energy. Dr. Webb had led her through corridors filled with equipment she didn't recognize, technology that seemed both primitive and impossibly advanced. "We've been working on this for 2 years," he had explained, gesturing to a pair of mechanical legs displayed in a sterile chamber. Full neural integration prosthetics. They're not just limbs, they're extensions of your nervous system. Zara Lynn had stared at the legs. They were sleek, composed of a silvery metal laced with synthetic muscle fibers. Small lights pulsed along the joints, and she could see microscopic filaments designed to interface with organic tissue. "The Velkari tried neural prosthetics," she had said quietly. "They failed. The connections degraded, the feedback was too slow, and the rejection rate was 87%. Dr. Webb had interrupted. "I read the literature. But humans have a different approach. We don't try to replicate what was lost. We build something new and teach the body to accept it." The surgery had taken 14 hours. When Zara Lynn had awakened, she had felt something she hadn't experienced in over a decade. Sensation below her waist. It wasn't the same as before. It was sharper, more precise, as if every nerve ending had been amplified. The legs responded to her thoughts instantly, faster than her original limbs ever had. Dr. Webb had stood beside her recovery bed, monitoring readouts on a holographic display. "Start small," he had advised. "Think about wiggling your toes." She had focused, and the toes had moved. Then the ankles. Then, with Dr. Webb's support, she had stood. The first step had been awkward, her balance uncertain after so long without it. The second had been steadier. By the 10th, tears had been streaming down her face. "How?" she had whispered. "How did you do this when the best Velkari surgeons said it was impossible?" Dr. Webb had smiled, that same easy expression she had seen at the conference. "Because humans don't accept impossible. We've been fixing broken things for thousands of years. Broken bones, broken hearts, broken worlds. It's what we do." Now, 6 months later, Zara Lynn stood on the observation deck of a coalition vessel, watching her homeworld rotate slowly below. Her new legs carried her weight without effort. She had run for the first time last week, had danced for the first time yesterday, and had climbed a mountain on a human colony world that morning. Other Velkari had begun to inquire about the procedure. Dr. Webb's team had been flooded with requests from across the coalition. Species that had accepted permanent disabilities for millennia were suddenly asking a single question. If humans could do this, what else was possible? Zara Lynn flexed her toes inside her boots, feeling the synthetic muscles respond. The human approach to medicine wasn't about accepting limitations. It was about refusing to believe in them. They had spent their entire history fighting against nature, biology, and fate itself, and they had taught her to do the same. She turned from the viewport and began walking toward the conference hall, where she would present her paper on human linguistic patterns. Each step was effortless, natural, a miracle wrapped in metal and determination. Behind her, through the transparent aluminum, her homeworld gleamed in the starlight, a place where the impossible had become possible because a human had refused to accept anything less.